Hello, and welcome to the Real Estate Basics Podcast, where first-time homebuyers feel right at home. My name's Norm, and my co-host is Quentin, and we'll be your host today. This podcast is meant for all of my first-time homebuyers out there, my potential first-time homebuyers out there, and we're going to help you, educate you through the process of buying a home. Quentin, you want to tell them a little bit more about yourself?
Thanks for the introduction. Excited to be with everyone today. Everyone that wants to learn about the home buying process from A to Z. I mean, really, there's not really that. I wouldn't say A to Z. That's 26 letters. That's a lot of letters. But I would say maybe A to E, A to F, maybe? Not that many letters. Either way. But no, I'm the president and founder of Home Pal Mortgage. We actually specialize in first-time home buyers, finding down payment assistance, doing credit repair, putting people on the right path, right? And what I like to say is, making square pegs fitting round holes, because people don't live by mortgage guidelines, and we help them fit inside those guidelines. But yeah, excited for the podcast today. Thanks, of course, for having me on and putting this on. I'll let you go ahead and take it away, and we got some good content for the listeners today. I'm still learning them. Hooked on phonics. I'm still learning.
Yeah, right. But
grade 27.
But we're going to get to a little bit more about what the next couple steps are in the home buying process later on in this podcast, so you have a better idea of what's coming down the line. Now, myself, I am Norm. I work for the Monzo Group, who's also sponsoring our podcast, the number one group in closed homes transactions.
Thanks, Monzo Group.
Thank you. So they've helped us get this all set up. They're a great place to go for your real estate needs. I've been a realtor for over a year, but I've been in the industry for about 5 years now. I worked at a wholesale lender located in Michigan. So I've got a lot of experience on the back end and on the front end. So just to give you a little bit of feedback about who we are, what we do, why we're creating this podcast for you to help educate everybody. Now, let's start going over the meat and bones of what we're going to talk about today is the 7 steps of buying a home, the purchasing process. Right. So the first thing we're going to talk about here is the pre-approval. Now, Quentin, I'm going to let you speak a little bit more about that. What can you tell us about a pre-approval letter?
So it's actually really easy. People are sometimes frightened of getting pre-approval. What I usually tell people, look, it's 2 to 5 minutes. We have a quick conversation. We look at your income, right? What you do for a living, how long you've been there, how much you earn, right? And then we look at, how much you have going on with your debts, right? That's called a debt to income ratio. We look at your credit, which is basically, have you been paying your bills on time, right? Now, only certain things actually report to credit, right? Your car insurance doesn't report to credit. Usually your rent's not going to report to credit, but, your credit cards will. You can have your, DTE bills if you actually ask them to. We'll go into that later. That's a little credit hack, tip, trick, whatever you want to call it. And then we look at assets, how much you have in the bank for down payment, or if, we're getting down payment assistance, we can kind of bypass that. But all of those things kind of go into it, right? We have a conversation of what it takes to get pre-approved. We run a pre-approval process for you. And usually we get those out in 10, 15 minutes and get you shopping, right? Everyone wants a house. No one wants a mortgage. So we make the unfun stuff as pretty as we can and then get you back out so you can find your dream home.
Yeah, and we're going to go a deep dive into the pre-approval process on the next episode. So each one of these steps is going to get their own dedicated episode. So hold your questions. We're probably going to get to them. If not, leave us a comment, leave us a like, send us a message. We'd love to talk real estate with you.
For sure.
Now, the next step, and this is where I get to speak up a little bit, is finding an agent. So you got your pre-approval, you're ready to shop. The next step is to find an agent, okay? This seems easy, right? There's a million agents out there. But what I encourage everybody to do is make sure at the very least you're doing your due diligence. Look them up on Zillow. Look up their brokerage. We'll go into a little bit more about what is involved in finding an agent in that episode, but just to touch on it today. Now, the next step is you got your agent, you got your pre-approval, you're feeling good about life, your pants are pulled up, ready to go. Now you got to go on showings, right? So you're taking a look at different properties, finding what you like, what you don't like about houses, what areas you like, what you don't like.
That's actually a really cool thing. I know they're going off script a little bit. Like, how does a showing work? Will you just go into like a 30,000-foot view on that? Like, hey, Norm, I like XYZ house, 123 Main Street. Like, what's the next step? I just knock on the door? Or do you have to be there? Do I have to be there? Is it virtual?
Right. So for a showing, I'll have to be there with you. Typically, if it's on the market.
I'd want you there with me.
Right.
You point out all the things I don't know.
Yeah, well, and that's my job as an agent, right?
Right.
We're going to run the values of the home, make sure, all this work is going to be done on the back end. If for you as a first-time home buyer, it's as simple as, hey, Norm, I want to go look at this house. Great. Then I do my job. I get the appointment scheduled. We confirm that time.
So you do need an appointment is what you're saying.
It's typically, yes. You can't just go to any house that's open.
Don't knock on the door. You're going to
might
be coming up on a lot of Ring cameras. They're going to be calling the cops on you. That's
yeah,
bad.
it might be a little precarious situation for yourself,
Right.
knocking on a stranger's door. But that's why I'm here, right? And I take care of that part for you. And then we go and we take a look at the property. I tell you all about the comparable properties, the values. Again, we're going to get into this a little bit more in the episode that we've dedicated to showings.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely need an agent to go. It's a very simple process. And we want to see multiple homes too, not just one at a time.
Right. So we can kind of schedule like a full day where you're like, okay, A, B, C home. What do you like? What do you not like about that house? Is it comparable to the first house? Really like the middle. You guys have all seen it. What's that show where they always check out 3 homes and then you vote on which one they're going to pick?
Yeah.
I forget what it's called. Whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, and keep in mind too, those shows are fun to watch and a good place to start. But
Don't tell me they're staged. Don't break my heart.
Some of them are staged. But
all right.
when we
now you're going to tell me wrestling's fake next. All right.
Okay.
All right. Bud.
Okay.
All
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Batman knocked on my door the other day.
Yeah. I know it.
But no, yeah. We want to really make sure that we're seeing a couple properties at a time. It's not a TV show. You're not limited to 3.
Right.
You can go see more than that. And I often encourage clients to go see more. Typically, you don't find your house on the first set of showings. It's after. Because those first set of showings are just to feel out what the market is giving us right now.
Right.
So the 4th step, getting back on track. 4th step here is the offer. Now, we're going to break this down into a couple different episodes because it is a lot to go over. It is a legal document. We want to make sure you have that basic education on it to understand it and know where you are in the process and what you're doing when you purchase a home. So we're just going to breeze past that part. We're not going to dive in at all on that today. But that leads us to the 6th step here, okay, which is timelines. So when you purchase a home, you got to follow your timelines. So EMD, inspection, appraisals, those are all things that go into a timeline. And again, we'll get into that more. We're going to dedicate a full episode to those timelines, what they look like, making sure that we're honoring the contract that we signed.
Yeah.
And then the next step here, after the appraisal's done, inspection's good, we got the EMD deposited, we're going to talk about underwriting. And
Bum, bum, bum.
yeah, every
no, it's easy. We're just kidding.
every client I had, that's the most difficult part because typically they're just asking for documents to verify income. Am I wrong?
Right. I mean, and you mind if I take this one?
Go, please.
All right, cool. So basically what we're going to do is, we're going to look at, when we had that conversation up front, you said you're $15 an hour, right? And you work 40 hours a week. We're going to go ahead and look at the pay stubs, which we probably already have, right? But we're going to go ahead and submit those to the underwriter. Underwriter's going to verify all that information. Now, you're working 40 hours a week, that your hourly rate is $15 an hour, and you make this much a year, right? Basically, just checking on the homework that we have already done and agreeing with us. They'll make sure that your employment history is what we put in, that your credit's what we put in, and that we have an approve-eligible loan, meaning that either FHA, VA, or Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, they said, hey, this person is lend-worthy. We're going to go ahead and lend them some money. Usually takes a few days. It can take a few weeks depending on how backed up your lender is. That's why we always say mortgage brokers, they really prioritize you. Shameless plug, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Home Pals, if Quentin didn't say
Mortgage.
it already, Home Pals, they do great work.
Yeah, we really do.
And the difference between what you do and what the bank does, right, is Home Pals. That's a big part, definitely.
Who said that? Was that a visitor?
Cricket chirping in here,
Right. Yeah.
No, but the other part of it too is you get to shop, right? So they do that process for you at Home Pals, where they're gonna go find the best mortgage to fit your personal needs. Where at a bank, they have a set list of the things that they can offer you, and Quentin has access to that list and many others. So always encourage the shop around. You don't buy the first laptop you see. You don't buy the first home you see. You don't go with the first loan that's presented to you.
Right.
Have a mortgage broker such as Quentin. Joel, his vice president, does a great job as well. they're going to go through that process with you and say, hey, I found this loan program. What do you think? And then you go over the numbers too, right? Like you tell them what the estimated monthly payment,
it's
taxes.
not always just the numbers. It's also like what lender can give you the down payment assistance.
Of course.
What lender is going to give you the biggest credit to minimize your cash to close? What lender is going to be the easiest to work with that we can meet that deadline, right? Because when we put in the offer, to kind of backtrack on going back to the offer, sometimes the offer can be, hey, we're going to close in 2 weeks. Hey, I know you had a cash offer on the table, but we want our offer to be, the most attractive person at the bar. I used to say lady at the bar. You can't do that anymore. It's 2023. But the most attractive person at the bar, right? So what makes our offer stand out from the rest, right? Now, it's not 2021 where there's 50 other offers, but there might be 1 or 2. And if you really want that house, we're going to go get that house for you. We make the phone calls to the listing agent and tell them why your offer is the best. Let them know, who we are in the industry and how we work, right? And that really has kind of, impacted the outcome for our clients when they're putting in offers.
Of course. And of course, always crucial too, that you have your agent working very closely with their lender. I use Quentin on a lot of deals that I've done this past year. I can't tell you how easy it is for me to look over my shoulder in my office and say, hey, Q, can you talk about this for a minute?
Right.
And that just facilitates. Ooh, well, okay.
I like that. That's a 7-point word, Scrabble?
Close to it, right? Maybe you shouldn't have had that beer before. No,
right,
I'm kidding.
No.
But no, he'll help facilitate that whole transaction, makes it much smoother when we can work together in tandem. And I know Quentin's going to pick up my call at 8 o'clock at night, at 5 o'clock in the morning. If he can help, he's here. So super big. And then that kind of leads me into the next part of the buying process, which is the closing table. So we're going to talk about in that episode what it looks like at the closing table, what you should be looking for in the documents, what some of those documents mean.
Who brings the champagne? Who pops it?
Right. And your realtor should get you a gift. Just saying, that's a perk.
Yeah, it should come to the closing, and
right.
Because you want some backup there. Just in case you had a question on something. Nerves are a little bit crazy. But it's exciting. It's a fun day. It should be celebrated.
Absolutely.
You want to get the keys. You want to go to the house. You want to feel that moment. Take some pictures.
Absolutely. And it
refer
helps
some people.
It helps to have a realtor like myself who I've worked on the title side of things. I've reviewed loan packages from beginning to end. So if you have a question and your realtor's a good realtor, they should be able to help you answer those questions and go through that package. And they should also be using a good title agency that can do the same thing. Another plug, Midwest Title does a great job here.
For sure.
They help all of our agents and beyond, and they do great work. So those are the 7 steps. Just going to recap them here for you briefly. So the first step, get that pre-approval. Second step, find the agent. Third step, showings. Fourth, offer. Fifth are your timelines. And then 6th, underwriting. 7th, what to expect at closing. So that's going to be our outline for the next couple episodes that we do.
Yep.
Now, we're also going to drop a shorter episode in the middle of each week. We're going to highlight a neighborhood. So Mondays, you're going to get our big podcast drop. Wednesdays, you're going to get the smaller 10-minute neighborhood highlight to go over some of the areas in the Tri-County area here that are
school
good.
systems, median prices,
Absolutely.
Everything you'd want to look for about a neighborhood. We're going to go ahead and do the homework for you, so that way we're kind of armed, before we even go out, right? Hey, is this a school district I want my kids in? How's the education? How's the property taxes, right? What's the millage rate? And we'll go into all that stuff to make sure that you're not wasting your time, checking out something that you don't even like or that doesn't fit your needs as a family, right?
Exactly. And then we're also actually going to do a business highlight, too, of a local business in that city. So if you have one that you know of in the area that you really love, whether it's a restaurant, somewhere that you've done business with, that they just do a great job, leave a comment, let us know so we can reach out to them. We'll also be doing our giveaways on Wednesday, gift cards to these places that we are recommending.
I like it.
Okay. Yeah, every 10th comment that we get, you're going to get that gift card. So tune in Mondays for the big podcast, Wednesdays for the snapshots. Now, was there anything else you wanted to talk about today, Quentin?
Again, we just want to say thank you for, coming to this podcast. Wednesday, we got one 2 days from now.
2 days, yeah.
Okay,
Wednesday.
so hey.
Yeah, so
all right, let's get after it.
That one will be a quick one. This one we did.
Which city are we featuring first, just so we can let a little bit of
a little
sneak
sneak
peek?
Trail. Yeah, well, we're going to be doing the City of Roses, Roseville, my favorite city in Macomb County. I live there, so I have all the good deets for you. Great place to
A
buy
lot
your
of stuff
first
coming
home.
up in Roseville right now. That's gonna be an exciting episode.
Yeah, lots of things to talk about on that one. But yeah, in the meantime, once again, we are sponsored by the Monzo Group, #1 group in closed homes transactions. We're also working with Home Pals, who have helped us put this podcast on. That's Quentin's company.
Thank you.
All right. So if you guys have any questions or you want us to address anything in the home buying process, please leave a comment. We'll look at all of them, and we'll put some episodes together to make sure we are answering all of those questions for you. But yeah, I think that's it for us today. We're going to get out of here, and we'll see you on Wednesday. We'll talk to you on Wednesday.
See you Wednesday, y'all. Thanks.